I think that was what the big upset was all about, the fact that he just was expected to defend his titles in style.
A weekend with an abundance of lessons. No one is invincible. Looks can be deceiving, and every dog has its day.
And I can't believe I just made my dreams come true.
Andy Ruiz Jr. defied all the odds on Saturday night, pulling off one of world boxing's most memorable moments. They say a single punch can change a career, and whilst it wasn't just one but many, the first Mexican heavyweight champion catapulted himself to the sporting pinnacle.
I just made history, baby, for Mexico.
Both fighters showed respect and humility. The Ruiz's beaming "I told you so" smile said it all. So is the super fight over? Has it lost its appeal? Only time will tell, though the rematch will prove everything. And likewise, the next few months for Anthony Joshua will be an uphill mental battle, one that will either make him or break him.
It's going to be a big rematch in the UK, but Ruiz deserves it tonight.
Here we look back at 5 astounding heavyweight upsets from the past to see what came of each when times got tough. Welcome to a Motivedia presentation.
Let's go ahead and call it the biggest upset in the history of heavyweight championship fights.
Starting with the earliest, we look back at one, if not the biggest bouts of all time. Fought in Zaire, labeled the Rumble in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman.
We are the champion and the #1 contender, so I'm pretty sure that it'll be a fight from the first bell to the ending bell.
Foreman, the powerful young and unbeaten champion, came in as a huge favorite after his 40-fight unbeaten streak. Though despite the odds, Ali's unshakable confidence remained, expounding some of sport's most iconic quotes.
I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. I want to be declared by all as the greatest of all time. Right.
He'll definitely have to do it to beat me. Stick and run. I'm going to be running him through the jungle.
Throwing disorienting straight shots early on, Ali was unfazed by the 25-year-old's strength. In the second, leaning on the ropes, he allowed Foreman to unload on his arms and body, a tactic he later dubbed the rope-a-dope.
None of those punches are doing any damage at all.
And with the subsequent loss of energy, Ali began to gain momentum, catching Foreman with increasing ease.
Scored by Ali. Look at these combinations that Ali lands.
Until in round 8, landing an incredible 5-punch combination, he made history.
Lay on the rope and George Foreman become a dope. You win the fight.
Are you saying George became a dope?
Yeah, I lay on the rope and just like a dope kept hitting him.
After his first loss, Foreman got back to winning ways. And whilst this second loss 4 years later sparked his inactivity, Big George made not 1, not 2, but 3 high-profile comebacks.
Down goes Moore on a right hand.
Totaling 81 professional bouts, Foreman sits amongst the greatest of all time, in an era when the best truly fought the best.
I told you I'm going to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see. So that's what happened.
Next, 4 years later, we turn the tables entirely. After a grueling points victory against power puncher Ernie Shavers, Ali, who should have been enjoying retirement, now needed an easy fight. Cue 24-year-old Leon Spinks.
Don't bother me about what people say. All I gotta do is prove to the people that that man can be beat. And he will be beat.
Younger, fresher, but a massive underdog with only 8 bouts to his name. On the opening bell, Spinks rushed out in do-or-die fashion. Ali, however, now having fallen in love with the idea of tiring his opponents, continued his usual style. A lively youngster like Spinks, though, had the tank to match him. In a split decision, winning 2 of the scorecards, Spinks was crowned the undisputed champion. Ring Magazine's Upset of the Year.
Leon Spinks is the new champion for about another 4 months.
However, a testament to his character, 7 months later he came back to put things right. Sticking and moving in the rematch, Ali cruised to a landslide victory, the last bout of his career before his last hurrah in the 80s. Third, the most memorable sporting upset in history. Mike Tyson was a human wrecking ball in the 80s, amassing 37 straight wins, all but 4 being knockouts. The youngest heavyweight champion, still only 23 years old. However, just 2 months into the new decade saw everything change.
Douglas insists that he's going to shock the world in this fight.
Refreshingly, it became apparent that the underdog was not afraid, jabbing and tying up Mike on the inside. With some mid-fight success, Tyson landed a few trademark uppercuts, and with 10 seconds to go in the 8th, he landed big.
And there's a right hand uppercut, and down goes Douglas.
Up in time, Douglas survived the expected onslaught in the 9th to completely flip the fight on its head.
Douglas wailing away.
So much so that in the 10th he had Tyson on the back foot and hurt.
Douglas coming back with a left and right. Tyson is wobbling.
In some of the most enthralling seconds of boxing history, we saw the unthinkable.
Douglas, and down goes Tyson.
For Mike, this was the first warning of his suspected decline. And 4 fights later, after being sentenced to jail time, it became clear Mike's best days had passed. Fourth, a man from which Joshua must now take credence.
WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis!
Lennox Lewis, a fighter that suffered 2 freak losses during his career. The first in 1994 on his rise through the ranks. Prior to the fight, Lewis entered negotiations to organize the long-awaited Bowe matchup. And much like Douglas, McCall's unimpressive 24-5 record caused him to take his eye off the ball in a fight he never imagined losing.
So I'm going to introduce you to the next heavyweight champion of the world, the Atomic Bull, Oliver McCall.
This is the moment of destiny, perhaps, for Oliver McCall from Chicago.
After a cautious opening round, Lewis started aggressively in the second, piling pressure on the American. However, in a quick exchange of right hands, McCall, with his eyes closed, dropped Lewis to the canvas.
Oh, what a right hand! He's in big trouble here, Simon!
Managing to stand, but clearly on wobbly knees, the referee deemed him unfit to continue.
Oliver McCall is the new world heavyweight champion.
It was 2.5 years later until Lewis finally got the rematch, where he beat McCall in one of boxing's most bizarre encounters.
He's crying in his corner. I've never seen anything like this. He's overwhelmed.
Though, in a true show of character, he went on to unify the titles with a win over Holyfield and avenge the 2 losses on his record.
This is over, baby. This is done.
Last but not least, and another 10 years on, a boxing icon who dominated for over 12 years, and it would have been longer if it wasn't for a sensational upset against Corey Sanders back in 2003. Vladimir Klitschko had already held the WBO belt for 3 years, with 40 wins to his name. Sanders, in which case, was merely considered a stepping stone.
For Corey Sanders, it's a nothing to lose proposition.
The bout in Hanover, Germany didn't take long to heat up. Caught by a short left hand with just 33 seconds remaining in the first, Klitschko was dropped in brutal fashion.
Klitschko goes down on a huge left hand inside by Corey Sanders.
Never recovering. Down 3 more times. An incredible victory in just 2 rounds.
And the referee, Gennaro Rodriguez, stops the fight.
The man who was widely seen as untouchable was made to look exposed and vulnerable.
And of course I will give my best and I will have a rematch with Corey Sanders and then I will show what I can do.
As mentioned, the Ukrainian went to become a true heavyweight great, untouchable for over a decade. And when remembering the late boxer who was fatally shot back in 2012, Klitschko deemed that loss in 2003 as pivotal to his later success and dominance. So when faced with adversity, it really does become a fight or flight mental battle in the sporting world. And the ability to bounce back in hard times is what separates the good from the great. And whilst the rematch offers a chance at redemption for the Brit, right now it's time to celebrate the rise of a new, unexpected heavyweight king.